Hey friends, long time no see. Sorry if I worried anybody disappearing like that for a month and a half. It's just that I had this video I was gonna make. It was gonna be called Starting Life Over at 30. And it was gonna be all about my ambitions and goals and all the stuff I'm gonna do to unstuck myself from this pit I dug in my 20s. And I wrote this whole big script for it and everything. And then I noticed something. Something familiar. A feeling. A kind of cyclical feeling. If you're a really long time watcher of my videos, you might even recognize it too. Charles makes a bunch of videos for a month. Charles suddenly disappears. Charles returns with all new motivation and ambition and promises that things are gonna be different this time. Well, I finally caught myself before I made the same mistake again. This video isn't gonna be about starting life over. This is a video about coming home. Let me tell you the story. I was in a voice call with my friends. We were playing Minecraft together in the late evening. Just building a base together, chatting about life. Simple, quality time with friends. At one point I started talking to him about my struggles with being happy with my life. It's a problem that's nothing new. I've been dealing with it since forever, and I've written a lot about it on this channel. I even wrote a short little guide on how happiness works and how to achieve it. But nevertheless, just because you know how to do something doesn't mean it's easy. And for me, I knew how happiness works, but for some reason, I just couldn't bring myself to be happy or even to do the things that make me happy. And the big moment came when suddenly, at some point in the conversation, whether it was because they said something or I said something, I had this light bulb moment. I wish I'd written down how it happened, but this awareness came out of me and I started working it all out in my head. I suddenly became aware of the fact that every time I try to be happy, something inside of me rebels against that. It's not that I try to be happy and then fail. It's that I don't even get to the part where I try because I deny myself the opportunity. And I looked at that and I talked it out with my friends until I had the big epiphany. I don't let myself be happy. And the reason I don't let myself be happy is that when I was growing up and throughout my life, when I did the kinds of things that made me happy, when I expressed and shared my happiness with other people, I got punished for it. I got rejected, I got ignored, I got mocked, I got admonished, verbally and physically abused, and all the time never really got clear explanations for why that was happening. And any understanding that I had to be pieced together over years of working on myself. I've talked extensively about my struggles as a YouTuber and just generally as a person on this channel, how much I've hurt myself and others through my lack of understanding and the dearth of healthy guidance I had in my life. And this moment was like a puzzle piece that just made the whole picture finally make sense. The number one thing that has stopped me from being anything and everything I have wanted to be in my life, including a YouTuber, has been the fact that I always lose interest in what I'm doing and end up doing something else after a short time. I thought, maybe it's ADHD, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's some mental illness with an acronym that I can understand and then medicate or therapize away, and then all my problems will disappear. But suddenly, I became aware that the problem the whole time was me. I was sabotaging my own happiness because I was afraid that if I try to be happy, no matter what, I'm going to be punished for it. Because that's what I experienced in my life. So the only things that I'm allowed to do are the things that I did in my life in the past that worked to not get me punished. And you know what that was? Performative achievements for the sake of appeasing someone else's idea of what I should be or be doing. In other words, dance monkey dance or no peanuts for you. So, reluctantly, I actually have to admit something that I never thought that I would say, but I was addicted to the grind. Not because I loved it, but because I thought it was the only way I was allowed to exist in the world. This has been the true shape of my trauma all along. This is the shadow I've worked so hard to confront. My unwillingness to face confrontation, fear, and pain. And the fact that I dumped away my own happiness just so that I didn't invite more negative feelings into my life anymore. Of course, all I did was make it so that the only feelings I was allowed to feel were negative. The closest thing to positive emotions I was allowed to have was the facade of a smiling face as I did the dance of societal acceptance. I killed my creativity. I killed my uniqueness and originality. I killed everything that was special about being that wide-eyed kid looking out at the world like they had no idea what anything was and they were just taking it all in every moment of every day. And I replaced that with an authoritarian, self-governing judge that would whip me every time I dared to express myself genuinely or do something just for the sake of doing it and not to prove something to someone. The video I wrote originally, before I had this realization, the video that was going to be this video, was probably 4 times the length of this one. And that was the length that I was willing to go to not face the truth. To persuade and convince, not you, but myself, that was what I really wanted. Ambition for the sake of ambition. Progress for the sake of progress. With the presumption that happiness will come one day as I'm doing this performance, while I was repressing that happiness every moment that I could. So no, I'm not starting my life over at 30. I'm going back to the way things were before I decided that I wasn't allowed to be happy anymore. It's going to take some time. I've built up a lot of habit around killing my happiness, but understanding and awareness is step 1. It's just like Alcoholics Anonymous. Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm a depressaholic. Well, not anymore. I'm on the road to recovery. For the first time in a long time, I'm making a video that isn't some sob story about the terrible things that happened to me and the silver lining to it all. There is no terrible thing here. This is triumph. This is the climax of a work that I began when I was 15 years old, to finally liberate myself from the shackles of my limited environment and to go on to be the rad dude that I know that I could be all along. There is no perfect version of me. So the next best thing is the version of me that's doing their best. And I just removed the biggest roadblock I've ever had to doing that. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the greatest moment of my life. This is my great achievement. There's no need for further ambition or the relentless chasing of these far-off goals. That's all side quests now. I'm finally doing the main quest, which is being here with all of you right now. Because I want to be, because I like it here, because I enjoy this, I enjoy myself, and I enjoy my life. Step 2, do that until I die. The end. Thank you all for watching. Take care, friends. I'll see you soon.